Hi, and welcome to Art with Mrs. Torres. This week we are going to be drawing a self-portrait, a winter wonderland self-portrait, including a cap and maybe a scarf. You're going to need simple items today for this project, but I promise you're going to love this. When you're done with it, it probably might be a gift you want to give someone. You're going to need a pencil, an eraser, and a Sharpie marker, our usual things, of course, a piece of paper. And one item that I would recommend coloring with today are crayons, either crayons or colored pencils. I would not recommend using markers today for this lesson. So gather up those items, meet me back here, and I will teach you how to draw a picture of you.
Welcome back. Let's get ready to draw our winter self-portrait. You're going to need a pencil, a magic rub eraser, a Sharpie marker, and a piece of paper. I'm going to be using the paper that comes out of my printer, but you can use any other type of paper that you have. You're going to need something to color with. I'll be using crayons today, but colored pencils will work great as well. I would not recommend using markers. All right, pause the video if you need to. Go ahead and gather those items and then meet me back here. Welcome back. First thing we're going to do is use our pencil and find the center of our paper. Once I put my finger down, measuring from the top to the bottom, side to side, placing a very light dot in the center, this is going to help me create my face right in the middle of the picture. Now, I'm going to be making an oval for my face, so I'm going to practice with my finger first. You want that oval to be fairly large, saving room at the top of the oval for your hat and the bottom for your shoulders. Once I'm comfortable, I'm going to put my pencil in my hand. I'm going to continue that motion, and I'm going to make a nice round oval. And once I create this oval, you're going to have some lines that aren't the ones you want to keep. Don't worry, we can erase all the lines you don't like once we're done creating the oval. When you're finished, you're going to go ahead and take your eraser and erase the dot in the center. Now you can go in and erase the lines you don't want to keep. So the more you practice drawing very softly and moving your hand in the shape of either a circle or oval, nice and slow, you're going to get used to that motion. And then when you go to softly lay your pencil down, as long as your hand keeps moving, you're going to have a smoother circle or oval. Speaking of ovals, please don't worry about it being perfect. We're going to be changing it. We're going to be adding ears and hair up on the top of the head and a hat. So basically, the only part that's going to show is the bottom, which basically forms the shape of the letter U. Now, when you're finished with that, you're going to go ahead and come down here to the side of the face, right here where the jaw would be, and you're going to add a neck. So your neck is actually wider than you think it is. Your neck comes down from the side of your face where your jawbone is. So you're going to make your lines for your neck. And then we're going to start to slowly curve our lines out and then round it on the side for your shoulder. Now this depends on how large you made your head. So if you made a really small picture of your head on your paper, you're not going to be able to bring your shoulders all the way down to the bottom. That would make you look like a giraffe. So it just depends on the size of your head, and you're going to have to look at your own picture and decide whether the proportions are right or not. Now the neck is actually going to change because we're going to be adding a scarf around the neck, but it's important that when we're learning how to draw, you learn how to draw all the proportions of the face. Whether or not you keep them, it doesn't matter. Right now, you just need to learn how to correctly draw. Now we're going to draw a plus sign through the face, but it's very important that you barely tickle the paper with your pencil as you draw this plus sign, because we're going to erase the entire plus sign later. So we're going to draw a line through the middle this way. You'll see how light my line is, and then we're going to draw a line through the middle this way. Now, once we draw that line, we'll be erasing it later. That's why it's so very light. This is going to help us proportion and place our eyes, our nose, and our mouth. So right here on this spot here, this is where our eyes are going to go. Our nose is going to be below this line. So We're going to come down slightly lower than the spot here, and we're going to draw a curved, kind of like a smile shape here. This is going to be the bottom of our nose. And then we're going to draw a curved shape at the top like this for the top of our nose. Now this is kind of like the tip of your nose. This is one way you can draw your nose. I'm going to show you another way in just a minute. You can turn the nose down on both sides like that for your nostrils, and then you can have your little ball of your nose like this. Now, if that nose seems a little bit too formal for you, you can make it a little bit more cartoon-like by just choosing whether you want to do a smile nose or a rainbow nose. So maybe you want to make your nose more rainbow shaped like this. You can do that. Or you could erase that and draw a curve like this and make a smile nose. It's up to you. I'm going to let you decide. So 3 different choices for your nose. I'm not going to have you draw a sideways nose like this because our face is facing forward. So we would not have a sideways nose unless we were facing sideways. All right, once you have your nose designed, next we're going to just draw a simple smile. So I'm going to come up here on the sides and draw 2 marks for the top where my cheeks are going to be. And then I'm going to connect it with a gentle curved line. Once I've done that, I'm going to go right underneath here and I'm going to add a little curved line kind of for the indentation of my lip. Then I'm going to come up here and start to place my eyes. So my eyes are going to be equally spaced from my nose, and I'm making my eyes kind of close to my nose, and I'm going to make a wide curve. I'm going to match it on this side, so I'm going to see how far away from the edge of my nose I drew on this side. I'm going to match it on this side. Make a wide curve. When I'm finished, you can add eyelashes later if you'd like to. You could also choose to make your eyes open if you'd like to. I'm just going to keep this really simple for today. Closed eyes make it a little easier to draw. We're going to add our eyebrows. Your eyebrows line up with the corner of your eye. So if you come up from here and make a little dot, up from here and make a little dot, your eyebrows follow the shape of your eye. We're not going to make our eyebrows too thick and heavy, just a light shape for our eyebrows. Now we can go in with our magic rub eraser and go in and erase that plus sign. We don't need any of those lines in the middle of our face anymore. Remember to open your hand as you're erasing and kind of erase in this section here. Call that the duck's mouth. That way your paper won't wrinkle as you're erasing. And if you're having trouble erasing that plus sign, you might have drawn it a little hard when I'd asked you to draw it light. But don't worry, just keep working on it. You'll get it erased. And if not, those crayons will probably cover most of it up. Each time you practice, it'll get easier and easier. All right, I think most of my pencil lines are gone. And now we're going to move into the ears. Now your ears are located right even with the corner of your eye and your nose. So if you come up here right where the point of your eyebrow is, and in this section, this is where you're going to start your ear. And then the bottom of your nose, if you had your nostril right here, and the bottom of your nose would be here, this is where the bottom of your ear would be. So this is a very gentle curve, kind of like a letter C, but not quite so curved. And then I'm going to do the same thing. So you can either take a pencil or just draw an imaginary line over here, and take your pencil or a ruler and make an imaginary line here. And you can try to trace the same shape for your other ear on the other side. So some of you might be thinking, well, I'm going to be covering up my ears. I have long hair. That's true, but it's important that you learn how to draw it, because then when it's time for you to draw a picture of not just you, but maybe some of your friends, you will still know how to draw ears. So whether you have hair or not covering them, you still have ears underneath. All right, next you're going to correct your chin if you need to. If your chin looks a little too long, you can shorten it now. So I'm going to shorten my chin just a little bit. I don't have that long of a chin. And I'm going to erase the lines you don't want to keep. And the next part we're going to move on to is hair. So everybody's got different hair colors and different hairstyles. You might have wavy hair or curly hair. You might have straight hair. So here is someone with straight hair. This is not a picture of me. I just drew somebody with straight hair. And this would be what you would look like if you had curly hair. You might have red hair. You might have brown hair. So I have lots of different pictures of different choices, but the shape, the outside shape of your hair is what we're going to be working on. So I'm going to be starting from the top of my head, and I'm going to go up just a little bit higher than the top of my head, about a finger space away, make a dot. This is actually where my hair is. If you touch your top of your head, you don't have one hair growing out of the bald head. You actually have a little cushion of hair up there. So if you have short hair, let's say you have hair that sticks up, you would be drawing your hair that comes up to that spot right there, all the way across. Now this is just the top of your head. We're going to add all the hair on the forehead later. So you're going to be covering up the top of your hair with a hat. So for now, all we're going to do is keep it very simple up here. And we're just going to draw a line that comes down next to your ears if you have longer hair. Now, if you have shorter hair, like my son, his hair would come in right here. So I would cut his hair in right about there, and it would be short like this. But if I was drawing my daughter, she has longer hair. Matter of fact, her hair would come down past her shoulders. So you might have hair that comes all the way down to here. You might have short hair. You might have medium length hair that stops right here. So first you have to figure out where your hair on the outside goes to. Does it land at your ear? Does it land a little bit below your ear? Does it land down at your jaw? Does it come down and touch your shoulders? Does it come below your shoulders? Once you have figured that out, you're going to draw the side of your hair. So for my example today, I'm just going to draw someone with simple long hair. This would be kind of like my daughter's hair. And I'm going to make it a little bit longer than my sample here. Here, I made my hair come just to my shoulders. Now, once you've drawn the outside line, just figuring out the length of your hair first. Now, we're going to be covering up the top of your head with a hat soon. And when you're drawing this hair next to your head, it also needs to follow this pattern right here. I made my hair a little bit too big. That makes a little bit more sense. A little closer to the head. Now, once you get to this place, it is time to figure out the front of your hair. So, my daughter does not wear her hair in short bangs like I do. She has a long section of hair, and that comes all the way down. It comes past her ear, and it comes down like this. She can tuck her hair behind her ears in the front. So if I was drawing my daughter Marina's hair, it would look like this. I need to erase that short hair up there. Also, I'm going to erase the top of the head now because I don't need that anymore. Now I have hair to cover that up. So if I was drawing my daughter Marina's hair, it would look like this. She also has long hair behind her back too. Now on this side, on the other side of her head, so if her hair is parted on this side, I would take this side and I would swoop it down this direction to match the other side. I'm going to erase that bald head because I don't need it anymore because now my hair is covering it up. And I want you to draw the top of your head because you might decide that you don't want to put a winter cap on. So once I've drawn the hair, that's one style. Let me show you another style. So in my picture here, I drew bangs. So I copied the same idea here. But for my bangs, I just drew some short lines coming over to the side. So if you have short hair, Maybe your hair only comes to here, like this, and you have bangs, you would just go like this and brush your bangs over to the side or straight down all the way in the front. Maybe you wear your bangs straight across. You would do the same thing and you would just brush your bangs all the way across like this and then connect the hair on this side if you have short hair. Now you're thinking maybe you want to put a barrette or clips in your hair. If you are a girl, we're going to be putting a hat on, so we wouldn't really be able to see those items. But if you didn't have a hat, yes, you could add those. All right, now let's create our cap. So what style hat do you want to wear? Do you want to wear a ski cap that goes over part of your head like this? Or would you like to wear a Santa hat? It's up to you, but you need to put some type of brim on your hat and then we'll figure out the top later. So in this picture here, I did a brim with just a basic ski cap, which kind of looks just like a little mountain with a little puffball on top. So how I did that was I drew a curved line like this. And I'm going to make my brim a little bit wider than my top of my head. And I'm going to bring it back again. So it kind of looks like a rectangle, but it's curved. You see how it's curved at the top, curved at the bottom? Now I don't need my hair in there anymore. But it's important that you learn how to draw your hair. That way, when you're not watching my videos, you're still going to know how to draw your whole head. If I just showed you how to draw a head with a hat on and you didn't know how to draw all of your hair, then you'd only be able to draw yourself in winter. I want you to be able to draw yourself in summer and in spring too, where you're not maybe wearing a ski cap. All right, once I've drawn that, now we're going to figure out what the top of my hat is going to look like. So here is the shape of the top of my head, and you're going to make your hat maybe a little puffier than that. So you could bring it up just a little bit higher than the top of your head. Not too much, just a little bit, like that. Then I can erase my head. I don't need that in the hat anymore. Then you can figure out what kind of puffball you want up on top. And I'm going to make my puffball overlapping here, right in the center. Now to make your hat look even more realistic, we're going to make it what is it called? It's kind of like a band that's stretchy. So we're just going to go like this and add a few little lines across it to kind of give it that stretchiness. Where's my hat? I have a hat on, so let me show you my hat. You see what I'm talking about? How it has this little lines right there. So when you wear it and it stretches, those lines stretch across your head. That's what we're drawing right here. Now I'm going to erase that line right here in the center of my circle. We don't need that anymore. Now my picture is almost done. The last thing I need to do is decide if I want to wear a scarf, or maybe I want to have a turtleneck on, or a shirt that has a high collar. So in my picture here, I drew a scarf. And I made the scarf wrapped around my neck. So if you'd like to do that, it's very easy. All you're going to do is make your scarf a little wider than your neck. So I'm going to come over here to the side of my neck. I'm going to make it a little wider on this side. And so here's my neck. I'm going to make it a little wider on this side. That's my original line. And then I'm going to swoop it right underneath my chin. And right, and you notice I'm making it curved because it's wrapping around my neck. My neck is round, so I have to make my scarf round. Now I can erase my neck out of the middle. And then when you have a scarf on, you usually have a piece that hangs down. So if you want to make a part hanging down, I start over here and I make a little bump. You could also do it on this side. So I'm going to make a little bump. It needs to be the same width as this one. So let's see, that's about 2 fingers. So this one's about 2 fingers. And then that little bump is going to now curve off the paper like this. Then I'm going to erase this line right here. And I'm going to erase that line right there. Now my scarf is hanging off the edge of the paper. And you could also put some fringe on the end if it was longer. Mine's not long enough to do that, but that's an idea too. And you can draw a pattern once we get to our marker. We don't want to do that right now while we have the pencil. We would do that with our marker. So when you're finished with this, it's time now to trace over all of your lines with your Sharpie marker. So when you're working with your marker, you want to work quickly. You don't want to do your drawing too slow. So the faster that you trace with your marker, I'm going to trace my ears first. And I'm going to trace my chin. So I'm going to go around like this. Trace my chin. So the faster you work with your Sharpie marker, the smoother your line's going to be. So as you are working, if you hold your marker straight up and down, you're going to have a skinnier line. If you hold your marker on its side, you're going to get a chubbier line. So I'm going to let you decide which style you're going to be working with today. And then as you're retracing everything, then I'm going to have you pause the video. I'm going to pause my video. We're both going to ink in our picture, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. So what I want you to do before you pause your video is you're going to ink all of the lines you want to keep, and then you're going to magic rub, erase all the lines when you're done. So don't start erasing yet. Erase when you're all finished. So when you're done inking, you'll go in with your magic rub and you'll erase your lines. And then when you come back, we'll be ready to color. All right, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Go ahead and pause your video. Okay, welcome back. You have finished drawing your picture. You have inked in all your lines. You have taken your magic rub and erased all of your pencil lines that you don't want in your picture anymore. And I'm going to show you a couple things that maybe you might want to add to your picture. In your puff ball, you could have done a circle, or maybe you want to make it kind of bumpy around the edge. And in the middle, you can just draw a few little squiggles like I did. Also, if you have long hair, you might want to add a few strands of hair behind your neck because you have hair back there. That's if you have long hair. Another thing that you might want to do is maybe you want to add a few eyelashes. If you would like to add eyelashes, you can, but you don't need to. You don't need to put very many, just a few. Okay, let's decide now how we're going to be coloring. I am going to be using my crayons. Now, if you have colored pencils, those also work. If you have color sticks, those work as well. I would not recommend markers. They're a little harder to get a smooth color for the face, but you could try using crayons first and maybe adding marker at the end if you wanted to do it to put a little pop of color in. Now, the first thing I'm going to be doing is using a skin tone that is closest to what I have in my crayon box. So in my choices of my crayon box, I have a few colors for skin, and I already know my skin is not that pink. My skin is not that yellow. My skin is not this beautiful brown. My skin is closest to this color. Is it exact? No, but it's the closest one in my crayon box that I have. So you're going to choose the color that's closest to your skin tone. So you're going to set your colors on your skin and look. You might think, for instance, that you have a golden suntan, but actually you may not be that same color. You might think that you have pink skin, but you can see that's actually not the same color as my skin. This is the closest for me. I'm going to take that color now and I'm going to be coloring my face, my ears, and any part of my neck that is showing. Now, when we start to color with our crayons, I like to turn my paper so that I can color quickly in one direction like this. So if you are right-handed, you're going to want to turn your paper a little bit to an angle like this so it's a little bit more easy for you to color back and forth like this all the way down your face. All right, let's begin by starting wherever your forehead is. That means the skin on your top of your head, above your eyebrows. And I only have a little bit right here because this girl that I drew, which is really not what I look like, it's more my daughter Marina, her bangs are hanging down right here. So I'm going to color right along and I'm going back and forth like this. Now, since our eyes are closed, We kept it easy today. All I have to do is color straight across. I can go right over my Sharpie marker with my crayon and it doesn't smear our Sharpie marker. That's pretty cool. I'm going to color all the way down, and since my mouth is closed, once again, I can color right over my mouth all the way down to my chin. And then I'm going to go over here to clean this area up right here by just kind of running my crayon along the cheeks and the ears. Don't forget the ears, because your ears are not made out of marshmallows. They are the same exact color as your face. And the other place I don't want you to forget is your neck. Your neck is also the same color as your face. So let's say you finish doing your face and you're thinking, oh, but I want to have a little bit of pink on my cheeks. Well, you can add that by just taking your crayon and very softly brushing it in. You're not going to make a circle like this. You're just going to take your crayon and very lightly just put a little bit of pink in your cheeks if you want to. It's barely going to show. You don't want to make it really bright. Just a little hint if you want to. You can even put a little bit on top of your nose too. All right, when you're all finished with this, we're going to move on. Time to do the color of your hair. So once again, we're going to lay some crayons out. So for instance, you might say, well, I have blonde hair, so I should color my hair yellow. Well, there might be some parts of your hair that kind of look like it's yellow, but I want you to look and see in your crayon box if you have a yellow that's closest to the color in your hair. Another thing you're going to notice is that your hair might have a little bit of light brown in it. It might just not be yellow. It might have a little bit of light brown. You could use your brown crayon and color it softly. Now, if you have red hair, let me show you. Your hair will not actually be colored red. You can color it with some orange and some brown. Speaking of brown hair, you might have a light brown or a dark brown. If you have a dark brown, you can mix black and brown together to make your dark brown. So my daughter Marina has dark brown hair. So I'm going to color her hair brown. So I'm going to color all of it brown first. And then I can go in and add a little detail of black on top of it to make it look dark brown. So I'm just first coloring a whole base coat of brown. If you have blonde hair, you could put a base coat of yellow down and then go in and add some light brown lines later. So this is my base coat. Now watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go in with my crayon and press a little bit harder and put a few strands a little bit darker. So see what I'm doing? So now her hair is not all exactly the same. It's a little bit darker in some places and a little lighter in others. Once I do that, if I want to, I can go in now with a black crayon and I can make her hair a little darker by adding a few strands of black through the brown. Now, if you have beautiful jet black hair, you don't need to add any brown. You can just go straight in with your black crayon, color one light coat of black, and then do a few strands of the darker black using the same crayon, just pressing a little harder. Once your hair color is done, how fun. Now you get to decide what color you want to color your scarf and your hat. When you're coloring your scarf and your hat, you can make a pattern in your scarf. You could do stripes or polka dots, plaid. You could do prints of some sort. You could make words appear in the top of your hat if you'd like to. In the background, what could you do in the background? Maybe you want to draw some snowballs. You could take your marker and draw some snowballs in the background. You could color the background sky blue with the side of your crayon. Now, if you want those snowballs to look a little bit more realistic, you could add a little bit of blue to the bottom edge of each one of those snowballs, just so that they don't look so flat. little shadow on them. Well, I hope you had fun today drawing with Mrs. Torres. I love teaching you how to draw. I want you to send me a picture of your self-portrait. I don't want it to look like mine. I can't wait to see what you come up with. Send it to rtorres@lcusd.net, and I'll see you for our next lesson. Have a great day.